Today on the show, we have Ben Moore. He's the US Managing Director at BeReal. He's got a very extensive background in social media and digital advertising. Welcome to the show, Ben.
Thank you so much, Jordan. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you tell our listeners a little bit more about your background and what you're doing currently at BeReal?
Absolutely. So I'm Ben Moore. I've been working in social media for the past 16 years now across Paris, New York, and Los Angeles. I've been working at companies like TikTok and on the agency side before. And when it comes to BeReal, I joined the company about 18 months ago to open up the monetization of the platform in the US, but also to make the comeback that we deserve, especially in a world of AI, media consumptions, addictions about social media. We think that at BeReal, we're fighting the good fight, and I'm very excited to be here today to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and what's really interesting about Be Real is that while a lot of the other major social platforms are rushing in to just over AI everything possible, Be Real's taking a little bit of a contrarian stance. So can you tell us a little bit more about that and what your philosophy is?
Yes, that's exactly what it is in terms of go-to-market. We're the only social network standing against grain. It's not a secret that social media is much more about media consumption than the social component of it. So we're the only platform bringing back the social connections, the ability for people that know each other to stay in touch with each other and to actually check in on their friends and family. And we think it's very much necessary, not just for our generations that really are getting tired of the fakeness of the big platforms, but more importantly for the generations to come. There's no there's no social network today, and that's exactly what BeReal is.
Yeah. Um, you're talking about like the over kind of saturation of AI generated content. How does that erode trust and like what are the impacts of that from a consumer on a social media platform when they're just constantly being exposed to, AI everything and it's really doesn't have much relevance to them?
Yet, so as a user, being exposed to constant ad load and AI generated ads or AI generated content, it's going to just impact the trust that you have in the platform and in the algorithm. Like you're going to open your app, whether it's TikTok or Instagram, and you're just gonna passively consume media just to be entertained, just to create that dopamine rush. As a consumer, it's even worse because the ad recall and the purchase intents are very much impacted, and that's what we've shown with the study that we've done with Nielsen a few months ago. Ariel stands out from those AI inundated feeds thanks to the finite feeds that we have. People are not, seeing content from strangers, but they're not seeing content that they don't want to see. There's no refresh at the end of the feed. When you're done scrolling, which takes about 2 minutes, there's literally an end of feed message on BeReal that says, "Hey, enough screen time for today. Go live your best life outside."
Yeah, it seems to like be really closer to like what social media originally set out to do, which was get you closer to your friends and family. So I think that's really admirable what you're doing, and it's kind of wild to see how monetization, like the ways about that social media has gone and monetized these platforms, has kind of pulled us away from some of that genuine connection.
Yeah, and those platforms have monetization has always been the focus, all right? But they're really optimizing for time spent. And I think the next wave of social is not about the time spent. It's about rebuilding that trust, but it's also about showing that engagement and people participating in your platform in a proactive way, in a very spontaneous and intentional way, is way better than actually the doom scroll and the passive media consumption. And yeah, we need to collectively move away from that premise, which is about money at all costs, because ultimately people are going to keep building algorithms that keeps people on the app, and it's not what social media was meant to be.
So how do you kinda straddle that line there between monetization and not eroding trust? BeReal launched its US advertising platform last year. Big brands, Nike, Netflix, Amazon, all on it. So, how is that playing out and kinda like how's that working essentially?
So the way we're making sure that we find this healthy balance between the ad load and the actual BeReal post from actual users on the feed is pretty simple. We first we make sure that the frequency of the ads are very much balanced. So we push an ad every 5 posts uh, and not uh, and not more often like other platforms. But more importantly, we're also encouraging the brands and we're guiding them towards adopting the code of BeReal. So what makes BeReal so unique is the front and the back format, with the front camera taking a picture of your face and the back taking a picture of what you see. And that's what we're really pushing for, or helping the brands build on BeReal. We also have a creative studio that helps brands understand how they should show up. And the more, really, the key here is the authenticity of the content. The more authentic the content, the ad is going to look, the better it's going to perform. And I think that's the key here of pushing ads or serving ads uh, that are native and that blends into a feed of real people, not having to wonder if what they see is real or not.
Okay, and so moving beyond that a little bit, outs like, what are some of, like, the metrics that you're measuring by? Is it the click-through rates, impressions, lingering time? Like, what are some of those, KPIs that other advertisers can pay attention to?
So yeah, we're measuring all of the KPIs that really matter for those advertisers, working with third-party platforms that can, neutrally measure the effectiveness and the performance of those KPIs. But I would say the one that really stands out on B-roll, because of the nature of the platform, because it's so intentional, because B-roll has become such a ritual, we really stand out with our click-through rate, meaning that whenever people see an ad, and we know that because we've measured it with our audience. We know that 56% of BeReal users click on an ad because it feels like a BeReal. And so uh, that impacts eventually the click-through rate, which is 3 to 5 times higher than on any other platforms on BeReal.
Yeah, I saw that based on some of the Nielsen research, that we were looking into. So that is a lot higher than a lot of other platforms seeing those rates for especially for the click through, because that's you're one step closer to the consideration and conversion phase ultimately. So that's super interesting. Outside of paid advertising, because Be Real is so user like kind of consumer focused, like how else are brands leveraging the platform maybe from like an organic perspective?
Yeah, two ways to do that. First one, as a brand, if you have a BeReal account, it's really easy for you to show up and to build that trust with your audience. So examples like Dior, Christian Dior, which is a, this big fashion house that you would never suspect that they need to build that audience on BeReal, is actually posting every other day on BeReal, if not every day, especially during our shows. They want to show the behind the scenes. They want to show, stuff that they don't show on any other platforms. And we also have a bunch of more natural example like QSRs. I'm thinking of Burger King, top of mind right now, which actually post codes, discounts on BeReal here and then, to make sure that their audience get access to some sort of exclusive content, exclusive codes to buy their sandwiches. And I think, yeah, those brands get it, and the brands that get it, keep coming back, whether it's in an organic manner or in a paid media manner. So they can launch ads, but they can also partner with creators. We have this offering that connects brands with our creators, so that the content that they're promoting looks even more real.
Mhm. Are you seeing, like, the demographic of your platform's audience shift at all, or is it mainly leaning towards, like, Gen Z, millennials, or 'Cause I would imagine that the brands are considering that when they're choosing where to like, which platforms to distribute, like BeReal.
You know, it's interesting because BeReal has always been, the Gen Z social network. But in the past 7 to 8 months, with the rise of the AI slop and AI inundating things, we're seeing more millennials come back to BeReal. The ones that were there, during the golden moments, the viral moments of BeReal 3, 4 years ago, come back to it because they have an account and they're like, okay, well, yes, Instagram or TikTok are no longer what they used to be. It's full of AI. I need that connection. I need, that proof of a human that built around. And I think, yeah, we're seeing a little bit of that shift. Even older demographic come back to BeReal. First, because of the nostalgia trend that has been around in the US, but also globally, where people are, really excited about how the 90s have been really changing their daily lives, but in a good way. In the 90s, I'm a millennial. I grew up with a Game Boy to play games. I grew up with a Walkman to listen to music. And looks like those people around the same age as me are going against the everything app that has been so much of a push in the last decade. And yeah, that's the trend we're seeing. People coming back for B-roll because they have memories on B-roll that they want to go back to, whether it was college or they have a new chapter of their life that they were documenting every day thanks to the daily posting on B-roll, or just to keep in touch with friends that they might have lost touch with, or yeah, just for the ritual aspect of it.
If you're ready to boost your business with top-notch content, podcasts, videos, or need expert support in public relations and digital marketing, we want to hear from you. Simply contact the form link in the show description or visit growthstackmedia.com to schedule a call.
And so will it automatically kind of tell you maybe if, like, who from your contact list, for example, has a number registered with BeReal, like BeReal? How does that work?
Yeah. So that's one of the features that has been really improved since the acquisition 2 years ago. The app was created by two French guys, acquired by another French company in 2024, and a lot of the resources that have been put into that have been invested was not, around marketing. That's why people are like, "Oh, Beryl, you're still around. I haven't heard from you in a while." That's because we put the money where our mouth is. We've put the money into the product, making sure that the onboarding, whenever you install the app from the App Store, you open it, you can, get back on it, or really start posting in a few clicks, in a few taps. And so in that process, we have indeed the moment where it says, "Hey, you have those friends that are on B-roll. Do you want to reconnect?" And if you were on B-roll, they're going to retrieve your account, and we're going to notify you every day about your memories, what you were up to in 2025, in 2024, on that same day. And that nostalgia, yeah, that moment, that memory lane is really a strong component of the value prop of the app.
Yeah, I like what you were saying too about like the nostalgia being a big trend. I'm definitely seeing that too, just from like a marketing perspective. Another trend that you've spoken to is like this whole dynamic of proof of human, is another kind of extension of this over AI kind of content backlash that's happening. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Why audiences are actually craving more of a, we'll call it a guarantee that who they're interacting with online or what they're consuming is a human and is the human they say they are versus like an avatar or like a deep fake, something like that.
Yeah. A lot of the conversations in the industry for the past year now has been about how AI is going to potentially replace real humans. And for creators and later on for users, that really raised the question about, is the creator that I'm following the actual person that I want to be, following? Is Mr. Beast the actual Mr. Beast, or is it his AI twin, his avatar? And so I think that's what really planted the seed for the bigger conversations that a lot of experts and advertisers are going to have nowadays, is about, the place that um, AI plays in the content creation. And I think the next big wave of social media is not only getting back to what made it so unique 20 years ago when Facebook released its website, but also that proof of human. How do we make sure that by the architecture, by default, you don't have to wonder if it's a real human being or an avatar, a bot, an AI twin? And a lot of experts in the last, I would say, 6 months now, have been raising that point. And Mark Anderson, Mark Cuban, all of those big tech investors have been saying it. The next big wave of social is that proof of human. How do we make sure that people reconnect with one another in an environment that is AI safe and that is really guaranteeing the fact that everything that has been posted has not been only posted by a real human, but is human generated content. And I think that by default today, BeReal is positioned as the only social platform because we don't have any upload and no edit, and utilizing both the front and back camera. BeReal is the only platform that can guarantee that proof of
Yeah,
human, proof of
because 'cause you're
trust.
actually utilizing, like, the physical device, which is also another unique, like, you have to participate through a physical device versus a retroactive, heavily edited upload. I also, like, and I'd love to hear your personal opinion on this. You know, the AI models are for video are improving a lot, but in my opinion, I feel like something's off. It feels a little soulless when I'm consuming something that's just a purely AI generated avatar. Do you think it's easy for broader audiences to tell, or do you think that the models are getting so good that it's harder to make that distinction? And if so, where does content moderation come into play? How can we distinguish that this content is synthetic versus authentic?
That's the $1 million question, Jordan. And I feel like, and I know I've read it somewhere, I think it's over 90% of people that can't tell the difference between AI generated and human generated content. And it's a problem because not only it's about trust, but it's about, actually believing if, especially in marketing, the effectiveness of the product you want to buy. And so I think, yeah, regulating the space, labeling the content, but also making sure that there are enough studies out there that shows that when an ad or content is actually generated by a human, it performs better than an AI generated content. So I think the more we'll lean towards those tools creating content for us at scale, the more there are going to be, other company measuring the impact and benchmarking it against human activity. And I think that's what we need these days is really proof of results. And I know there has been a regulation. I've heard that brands in New York now, and even in California, have to label any AI generated content. Some brands that are launching, I was talking about that with a friend recently that is launching his cosmetic brand, would rather work with actual models than using AI generative tools. And yeah, I think it's a good thing ultimately.
I think that's admirable, because, it's kind of crazy how fast we've gotten to this point where we're saying, a lot of brands are defaulting to AI models versus real models and real actors. I mean, an entire industry during COVID and post-COVID, it's the entertainment industry, models, actors, musicians, creators, like, they've really been struggling with this. So I think that you could actually build trust with your audience by saying, "Hey, you know what? We're gonna do this old school, and the more traditional way and actually, like, invest in other humans, but also it's better for their bottom line as well." So I think that there should and will be hopefully more data that proves, hey, in these instances, it's actually more advantageous for you to use a human than some AI replacement because you're gonna erode trust and sell less product or services.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
and to that point, there is already a ton of data around how Gen Z is pushing back on AI, how people are really sick and tired of seeing AI slop within their feeds. We know that people don't like it, whether it's millennial, Gen Z, or even the younger generation. I think the younger generation can smell it from a mile away. They have a better, ability to detect AI generated content than people that are not necessarily growing with it. And I think, yeah, that's a good thing. The more we'll have voices, pointing the finger of how those machines are not really making their life better, but they're creating this trust crisis that is going to be an even bigger thing if it continues. And of course, if we have data, especially in the industry, emphasizing the fact that yes, ultimately AI is great for optimization, execution, but all of the back-end tasks that were a bit time consuming for the actual human. And in contrary to that, it's not really great for building trust and marketing. Ultimately, I think it's going to be a good thing.
So looking ahead to 2027, are there any other predictions you have for how AI is going to impact media and marketing?
Yeah, I will say it's going to be first, people are going to slowly stop talking about AI everywhere, AI, fueled solutions. I don't think it's, a buzzword that you should include in your pitches or in your slogan anymore. So people are going to get rid of that. We know that AI is everywhere. And ultimately, I predict that by the end of this year, the AI buzzword will have the taste of a subtle battery. So that's also something I'm excited about. But in parallel to that, I would say that out of home and out of home combined with social advertising is going to become more and more of a thing because of billboards being generated by AI, but also because people are creating great stuff in the real world, and out of home is one of the great way to to engage with an audience that physically lives there. So I think one of the rising trend in 2027 is going to be combining social media campaigns with out of home campaigns, and how one is going to prove the efficiency of the other, and how we'll see more billboards on feeds, and how we'll see more campaigns out there on the roads, really proving that yeah, social media is great, but contact in the real world, advertising in the real world is also very important for branding.
Yeah, very, very important. Just getting back to the human side of connection and even within social connection and not just having everything be overly AI generated and ads in your face all the time. So very admirable what BeReal is doing. Obviously, it's available in the app stores. What would be the best way for our listeners to get a hold of you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. Ben Moore BeReal, I think, should do it. You should be able to find me. But yeah, you can also follow me on BeReal at Ben Free More, free like the number. And yeah, my DMs are open. I'm always very excited to meet with people that have ideas to make the app even better, but also how to make a better impact in this social ecosystem. And thank you so much, Jordan.